Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another week of Radical Racing here in the iRacing and RaceSpot TV YouTube channels. This is the Radical Esports Cup from Spa, round 4 of Season 2 in 2026. Well, what a great season we've had so far. A double-time race winner in the case of Andre Castro so far on our Friday nights. Glad to say that he and many of those familiar contenders are on the grid again tonight, as 21 drivers in this top split, in the most popular split of Radical Esports Cup racing, come to town here for racing. It's the 4th week of competition, as I say, and just what a difference a week makes. Just how different can this racetrack be to the previous one, Sonoma Raceway, where we were 1 week ago. The Virginia International Raceway is coming up next week as well. The difference in circuits just keep on coming again and again and again in this long calendar, taking us all the way to the Adelaide Street Circuit at the end of the season. Sebastian Lipp has raced out to a 110-point lead in the iRacing official standings. He's in front of James Barry with a bit of a gap then back to George Gonzaga, Heinz Braun and Havik Gulliksen round off the top 5. Andre Castro then next, then Robert Woodward, Ole Gulliksen, Katja Larsen and Rafa Blanco rounding out the top 10. In our RaceSpot TV standings, made up of only the 3 Friday nights we've had so far this season that we've broadcasted to you, Sebastian Lipp is leader of the championship. He's been point scoring in all 3 races so far. That same can't be said for Andre Castro, although he has won his 2 races out of 2. James Barry and Havik Gulliksen are not far away. Then Gar Valero, who's still 5th despite only being at 1 race. He did win it though. Katja Larsen 6th in front of George Gonzaga, Jack Veazey, Heinz Braun and Robert Woodward rounding out the top 10. Well, I expect to see many of those 10 here today. Amicable conditions again, 31 degrees Celsius on the 11th of April, tomorrow's date, just after midday. Expect to see these sorts of conditions so all really throughout the season. Actually, we're predicted a little bit cooler than this. Start time meant to be, and indeed has been, just after midday here at Spa, as it is for most of these races, to be honest. Brands Hatch and Adelaide are in the middle of the day. The others are actually in the morning for the rest of this season, apart from Montreal, where we will go racing in the evening. But it is very, very negligible, really, the difference between racing in the early morning or the late evening, even at this time of year. Got to say, myself, Ewan O'Leary, going to be bringing you commentary here tonight alongside J.R. Gregory. Up here in the RaceSpot TV commentary box, Ramiro Augustin Cisneros is behind the cameras of this broadcast tonight. J.R., the thing that's notable to me, I mean, we can talk all day about Spa or whatever, but everybody's heard all that before. It's an iconic racetrack. What's really interested me about this season is just that we couldn't have got much further away from Sonoma Race, well, not geographically, but in terms of the racetrack itself and how it's laid out, couldn't have got much further away than Sonoma last week.
Yeah, too right. Sonoma comes at you kind of fast and furiously, and here at Spa, our drivers are going to have a chance to take a breath, shake out their hands, and really think about what they're doing and think about strategy, and that is going to be definitely very necessary. There's going to be a massive game of leapfrog in a couple of spots. These drivers are going to have to count their laps down to the last lap to make those last lap moves matter down the stretch.
See how close the field stays across the board here today, because I find always in these lower speed cars, although these are sort of edging out of that category really, the Radicals, the sort of medium speed cars really, but even so, I think it still applies to them. The drafting you can get around Spa, it is massive in iRacing, especially from that run from the source all the way up to Les Combes. Even the run out the Curve Pour Frere all the way to the final bus stop chicane is not straight, but it is a long flat out run. And there's a number of short straights as well, which just allows you to stay close. That for me could be a real key factor here, sort of staying in the group almost, staying up towards the front, staying in that front group so you can fight it out for the victory and just staying in that draft really, almost like you would in a super speedway oval race.
Yeah, you absolutely have to stay with the train. If you miss the train around here, you are going to be late for work, and we'll encourage you to take a look at our timing tower on some of these in-cars when one car is closing on another one in both of the 2 places that you mentioned, and those gaps can drop so quickly. If you come out of one of those corners onto one of those areas with about 6, 7, or 8 tenths, that's going to close down to 0 by the time you have to start thinking about putting on the brakes. So really massive massive, powerful draft in these cars. And as I said, it is going to lead to a game of leapfrog. And I'll tell you, my favorite spots here for leapfrog are the entrance to the Lacombe chicane, entrance to the bus stop. Very easy to cover the inside as a defender there. And so to master Spa, you've got to master the outside move into the first corner of both of those chicanes. And we're going to see that happen repeatedly here today. And that's how you get the JR Merit Badge for Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, indeed. It is... there is a way round here, that is for sure. We just have over a minute left in qualifying. Could see all the different flags on the field, by the way. Not just Europeans today, but from further afield as well. America, Canada, Rafa Blanco, Uruguay. But I seem to remember having a conversation, or somebody else having a conversation with me about that flag not entirely being where he's actually from. Maybe I've misremembered, or maybe it's fixed now. But anyway, good to see a couple of people who were like. Chris Wetz down there and so on, from the People's Republic of iRacing. That's good. And Juan Perez. So there you go. Anyway, that's never here nor there. James Parry goes up to fourth place. You see these late times coming in. They are very close, despite the fact it is all a very long circuit. It is close across the board. Sebastian Lipp isn't done yet, and it's, well, just been put a bit further out of reach by Andre Castro, who's the first driver into the 2-minute 11s. Well, I'd be impressed if Lipp can join him in those, but maybe he could get himself onto the front row, or indeed onto the second row with this lap time. He's going to get close. He does move up to third. He's only just behind Harvick Gullikson. It's not a bad lap time indeed, but that close session just shattered a little bit there at the end by Castro.
Yeah, and we've talked to Castro a couple times following podium appearances here on our Friday 2100 GMT broadcast, and he intimated, I think, that he was going to lean into the schedule a little bit this year and try to grab another championship, and that 0.23 gap up front, much larger than we normally see in this field.
Let's have a look at the starting grid all the way through then, shall we? Andre Castro on the pole in front of Harvick Gullikson, Sebastian Lipp and Jake Williams on row 2. Good performance from Jake Williams. James Barry and Heinz Braun then on row 3. Back to some more familiar Radicals names. Great qualifying as well from Matthias Schuh, who's up to 7th place in front of a lot of guys who maybe feel they should be ahead of him. Rafa Blanco, Paki Caruso, Felix Samos round out the top 10, Pablo Cabrera and Marin Eni. Then on row 6, just over a second off pole, George Gonzaga, Ketil Larson a long way back. Robert Woodward, who'll be hoping to do a bit of defending like he did last week, 15th ahead of Romain Faux. Then Russell Barnes and Juan Perez on row 9. Henrik Gullikson is next in front of Cyprian Drag, who popped into YouTube chat earlier to tell us that it's their first performance on the stream, so welcome to them. And Chris Wetz, who is 21st at the back end of the field. It is a rather large field actually for tonight, but Spa can sustain it, and there are a few names we're not used to seeing as well, so interesting to see how some of those get on, especially Jake Williams. What a great qualifying from him. Not a name we see in Radicals too often, but up in 4th place.
Yeah, Williams looking good up there in P4, and Spa is one of those tracks that attracts Spa specialists that may not be great with the Radical. There's a lot of tire management involved, brake management, and getting him off the line can be a bit of a handful. So keep an eye on Jake there in P4.
Really interested to see how he goes. And we'll start on the outside of the second row. The odd numbers get the inside, as you would expect, that giving Andre Castro, who's taken another pole here, the position, the ideal position on the run down towards turn 1. Here we go. The lights will come on shortly and we'll be underway here from Spa. Only 11 laps tonight around this 7-kilometre circuit, but it is going to be a short but sweet race as we get underway. It's not a great launch from Castro, and on the outside line, Harvick Gullikson challenges in towards La Source for the first time. That is on turning on the inside though. Sebastian Lipp going to challenge him as a result of him not being able to gain that first place, but now they took into line. Already a gap being created behind 4th here as James Barry tries to get that 4th position, or that 5th position rather, and more importantly try and stay with these 4. Let's see what happens though as they come up over the top of the hill here and onto the long straight, bringing us up towards Lecombe. Here we go, it's the Campbell Straight and it's all close, very close. Sebastian Lipp there, cut in front of by Castro, who then moves to the right to block off Jake Williams, who goes down the inside. What an extraordinary start from the Welshman. He goes from 4th place to the front. We don't see him too often, but he's raced into the top split of the Radical Esports Cup, and he's leading on lap 1.
What a fantastic start by Jake Williams. He heard me here in the commentary booth to question his ability to get that Radical off the line. He got a great start. Those top 4 immediately put down a pretty big gap behind, and then Williams taking advantage of the draft down the Kemmel Straight and comes out of Lacombe Chicane in P1. Incredible start.
That was brilliantly done. Brilliantly done from Jake Williams. Now, there's a lot of work left to do, but that was brilliantly done. Side by side, meanwhile, for 10th place, Maranine in. Rafa Blanco, they'll sensibly get in line. Oh, will they? Blanco's going to be tied by Larson, who wants to gain places quickly. Blanco wants to get single file so they can stay with the leading group here. Talking about what we were earlier about that draft, but if you're taking it easy and you're sort of trying to get back into line, the driver behind might think, well, I'll have that place as well, and until Larson moves up to 11th.
And everyone looking pretty good right now, Ewan, in terms of that interval. The biggest interval I'm seeing on our timing right now is only 0.4, so nobody has missed the train yet. The entire field has gaps between the cars of less than half a second. And here we go, first run into the bus stop. Let's see what Williams does on defense here.
Few little bits of defending down the field, but not from Williams. He stays pretty much to his line, although Castro's very close behind him. Sebastian Lipp there making it absolutely clear that he didn't want to drive down the inside of turn 1, putting Gullikson at ease so they could take the racing line and again try and keep the draft. But Gullikson got a little bit wide there. He's now 7/10 behind. Some of these gaps extending as they get to the end of the lap, but that's just in time for there to be another very long straight to get back on terms again. What does Lipp do here though? Does he try and push Gullikson back towards the front 2, or does he try and take the lead? And what does Castro do? Does he try and make this a duo at the front? He is going to do that, I think. He doesn't want to retake the lead right now. He wants to make this a 1v1 battle, which he believes he's going to win. In fact, there's a number of pairings at the moment trying to help one another. The 3rd and 4th place drivers doing exactly that. Then it's side by side a little bit further behind. Heinz Braun and James Barry side by side this time. And Heinz Braun gets up into 5th, but this is creating gaps in the field.
Yeah, was not expecting that at all. Castro with real life NASCAR experience, showing a little bump drafting there down the Kemmel Straight. Can be a little bit risky in these cars, but can also pay big dividends. You saw that gap grow to 0.8 there, almost outside of drafting distance, now growing to 0.9. So Castro definitely has a plan to keep Williams moving, not make him defend, and try to pull away from Gullikson, Lipp, Braun, Barry behind.
I think this is going to be a front 2, and you know, Castro, the one who's sort of dictating this race at the moment. Normally you need to be leading to sort of be telling everybody else what to do, but Castro is sort of carving out this front group on his own right now, and at the moment Gullikson can't keep up, though he's giving it a good go. I think he's lost the draft now, and that group is going to be all about that one from behind. Again, like you said, that there aren't many that big gaps right through the field. I don't see a gap more than a second, but the gap from 2nd to 3rd is the closest to getting towards a second now, and Castro's helping it happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Lipp catches on here and pushes Gullikson along on this next lap, but that really worked spectacularly well. Those cars were very close together until that bump drafting started. Got it to almost a second, and a cloud of smoke in the background. There's some trouble in the bus stop. Even Chris Betts will go back and try to see what's going on there, but laps ticking by a little slower than normal, and here comes Betts to make up for it.
Oh, contact! A bit further behind. That's Juan Perez, I think, who's been spun round. And I might be wrong. That's right down the back end of the field. It is Juan Perez. Robert Woodward, sorry, just behind as well. I think got caught up with that, but there is the pushing. There is the 1st and 2nd drivers helping one another again. Jake Williams being pushed by Andre Castro, and Heinz Braun meantime to get Sebastian Lipp, who either wasn't close enough to Gullikson to bump draft him or has given up on doing it. That is a proper 1 second gap now, and they are really fighting for the last spot on the podium and nothing more.
Yeah, that our little group up front is over 1.3 seconds now from Castro back to Gullickson. So a little fight obviously is going to break out for that P3, currently held by Gullickson. And you know, if I can look into my crystal ball, I'm imagining that Castro is going to be just pleased as punch to sit in P2 until lap 11 rolls around, and that's where we're going to see him make a move.
I think so. But what can Jake Williams do about it? Because this is the only downside with the strategy, really, because in theory it's foolproof. Wait until the last lap and just pass him, because they're on their own. They don't have anyone else to worry about. The problem is the leader is absolutely sure, with no doubt at all, almost, what you're going to do. So they've got, well, in this case, Jake Williams has got 7 laps, which is, you know, nearly quarter of an hour to think about what he's going to do about it. And that is a bit of a problem when you're Castro here, and Williams has got so long. That's what makes you think he might not wait right to the last lap so that he can surprise him. But as you say, the ideal strategy is to just poke out on lap 11 and go through.
Well, and as I said, we've seen here many times aggressive defense on the inside going into the Lacombe chicane. That outside pass into the first part of Lacombe chicane, eminently doable. And if you have a lot of laps, hot laps around here under race conditions at Spa, you've got to have that one under your belt. And I promise you that Castro has that one under his belt. And maybe Williams be better off leaving the inside open, trying to switch back. I don't know, but his head has got to be spinning. He's got 8 laps to figure out what his next move is going to be as Castro continues to tap the P1 driver behind. And look at that gap growing. Heinz Braun is going to squeak through past Gullickson, but still 1.7 gap between Castro and P3.
Yeah, forget about it. I think the leaders are gone, unless, well, the only one who can actually get more drivers involved in the front group now, to my mind, is Jake Williams here, because Castro wants this to be a 1v1. I'm not sure it is in Jake Williams' interest, actually, for this to be such a private fight between these two, to be honest. So I wonder what you think about it if Jake Williams started to maybe go overly defensive. In another racetrack, you'd criticise someone in the lead like that from going overly defensive, because it's just costing yourself time. But does Williams want to cost these two both times so that they could get other people involved maybe and not make this such a 1v1 fight? Because, as I say, Castro can see everything coming here from his position, and Williams is rather vulnerable, but he does have the ability to, as I say, overly dramatically defend and maybe try and bring the second group back in again.
Well, you know, I think he probably has a couple of cards. One of them, as you say, would be to push Castro back into Heinz Braun, who is not shy at all, as we've seen repeatedly. Another one, Jake, that I would throw, or Ewan, excuse me, that I would throw out is, let's just say theoretically that Williams accidentally gets a bad run out of a low-speed corner like La Source and forces Castro to pass sooner than he wants to, putting himself in the better position. Another possible move for him.
Yeah, that is a good idea as well. There's surely got to be those games going on at the front, but seemingly not wanting to play them. We're about halfway through now, and so far Jake Williams has not done anything. A little bit of a slide there, but I mean, the problem with that second one is that Castro in that case is just pushing Williams, and here it is again. I mean, even before Eau Rouge this time he's getting into him. He'll just back off for the actual corners, because that would be a catastrophe. Now over the top of the hill they go again, and they could have the gap out of 2 seconds by the time that they're at the end of the straight. Look at the way, and look at this behind. Gullickson boxed in, Heinz Braun. Oh, Packy Caruso goes to the inside. He's gone flying through. He takes the racing line. Heinz Braun's gone from first to last in the group. Well, not quite last, but he is shuffled further down. Doesn't want to be shuffled that far down, indeed. I think he was fine with losing the head of the group. He didn't want to go all the way back, but there you go. Caruso goes to the front, then Sebastian Lipp, then Heinz Braun, Havok Gullickson, James Barry's here as well. Matthias Schuh's having a great race as well. He's joined the group as well in 8th place.
Caruso through that second group there, and I would love to see that from his perspective. That was at least a twofer, if not a threefer, going into Lacombe that time. And Caruso absolutely taking advantage of that draft. That was hilarious, dare I say. And Caruso, another very opportunistic driver we've been covering throughout the seasons here, and showing it right there that if he sees that sliver of light, he is going to go for it. Doesn't always work out for him, but certainly worked out there.
Well, yeah, I can't expect that there's going to be an option for him on the last lap, if I'm honest. But it was quite entertaining while it lasted on lap 5. But again, this is what you get from a bigger group, and this is why I'm surprised, because you know Jake Williams doesn't do as many radical races at the front like Andre Castro does, for example. This is why I'm surprised he doesn't want these guys involved, because one lap you could have Castro shuffled right back. Yes, it does open yourself up to, I guess the equation he's doing at the moment is this is a 50% chance of winning, and behind I've got a 10% chance, because then there'd be 10 in the group, and I get that from his perspective. However, I think the odds would be a little bit different to that. I think he could have a better time of it if he were in a larger group. But anyway, he seemingly believes that a straight fight, a 1v1 against Castro is the way to go, and that's what he's electing to go for at the moment. To be fair, we don't know what these guys have done in the week either, in the sense of other races. You're not limited in the amount of races that you can do, of course, so maybe Jake Williams has done more races this week, and has worked out strategy, has been in this position before, albeit not quite in a split like this, as that is 3 wide again. Heinz Braun this time is the one going forward to the front again. This is going to end in tears if we're not careful. Sebastian Lipp on the outside is going to be very careful now. He's going to go across the Lecomte chicane. And how is he going to give up that time gain now? Because he's definitely going to have a slowdown. Here they come on the inside. Gullikson and Caruso's picked the wrong line there. I think he's weaving around as if to say, get back in line again. We're causing ourselves trouble here. Still on the outside there, Sebastian Lipp. And he will have been able to give up that time gain now. So he slots back in again. This is the group to be in, though, and there could be another one joining. That would bring another all the way down to 13th place. That would bring them all involved.
Wild stuff out here today, and I'll tell you folks, if you're just joining us, remember this is not a private or league event. This is the top split of the public server here, 2100 GMT, that we do every Friday. So you want to get these radicals a whirl, get out here. This is the kind of racing that these drivers experience every week. This is the kind of racing we have for you here on RaceSpot. Absolutely fantastic stuff going on right now, and I'll tell you that fighting between this secondary group, look at that gap now between Castro and Heinz Braun, over 4 seconds now. So Williams and Castro absolutely checked out and each planning their end game.
Yeah, indeed. I wish we could see inside their minds at the moment, see what they're planning and thinking. There is a dive. It started at the final chicane now as well, as James Barry goes down the inside of Paki Caruso. Well, this is lively now. The group is growing in size. Actually, only down to 12 here. Marinini not able to go with the guys he was with earlier, but it's still a large enough group. That's still 10 of them involved in this battle for 3rd place. And watch the slipstream here coming up towards Lecomte. We'll keep an eye on the leaders down the bottom end of the screen, because something might happen there, although it is unlikely. Castro is just continuing to push Jake Williams at the moment at the front of this race. It's been a strategy he's adopted from that one pretty much, and it has worked. Here they come again onto the Kemmel Straight. There goes one. Gullikson goes to the inside of Braun, and here comes another. Sebastian Lipp then goes to the inside of both of them. He's going to go into 3rd place, and this time he doesn't overcook the braking. He does make the corner. The shuffling continues in this second group.
And I am loving that in-car of Castro putting the bump draft to work down that Kemmel Straight. You see him sawing at the wheel. You see the car of Williams dancing back and forth. That strategy, while effective, is absolutely not without risk. To do that 11 laps in a row takes an incredible amount of concentration and car control. And don't mean to jinx them. They still have a few laps ahead of them, but absolutely wild to see.
Sorry, there's connection thing there. I thought there was a change for the lead. There was not. It's fine. Williams and Castro still as they are. Sebastian Lipp still leading this group for 3rd position as well. I mean, anything can happen in that second group with 4 laps to go. I mean, really anything. As far as this front group is concerned, then they were more limited. However, Williams is a little bit further away from Castro this time round. It's not going to matter. Slipstream's still powerful as ever, and it's going to bring Castro right to the back of the Welshman very quickly. But just notable there that he got a bit further ahead, and here comes James Barry again. He's not been particularly punchy on the way towards Lecomte. He has been going for it, though, into the bus stop, and this time he's got Caruso up into 6th place.
Yeah, nice move there by Barry, and that is another driver, Ewan, that we have been covering quite a bit over the years, obviously. And I will say that Barry, last couple seasons, turning up the aggression a little bit, kind of pushing the boundaries and trying some risky moves, and that was one right there. And again, great car control, a lot of wheel seat time by Barry in these SR10s. You saw him putting it to work right there.
It's interesting, the difference there to what he's doing compared to the others, James Barry, but that works out for him as Castro only just gets to the back of Williams halfway down the camera straight here, but just shows you how far away you need to be, because still get caught. Oh! Heinz Braun there, thought he was going to get chased off the road by Sebastian Lipp. In the end, Lipp was lifting off. Heinz Braun, 2 wheels in the grass, but he goes through. He's back into third place. He's overshot that though. And here comes Havoc Gullickson now on a different line. He'll take the different line now through Malmedy, and he will be given the inside line. Heinz Braun couldn't get to the inside in time to hold him off through Bruxelles, the long downhill right-hander. And he might well be clear. There he goes. So Gullickson back in front of Braun again. It's the same three names, to be fair, but they keep shuffling out the front of this second group.
Yeah, beauty move there by Gullickson. You don't see people trying the inside Bruxelles very often, but Gullickson making it work there due to a slight bobble by Braun, who's been swallowed up by Barry as well. And there's Caruso sniffing around behind trying to get by Braun also. So Braun going up and down this group like a yo-yo. He got a couple of two-firsts, I think, and has lost 2 on this lap so far.
Oh yeah, it does show that it can be a bit of a conveyor belt, and may allow the front guys in the group just a bit of breathing space there, just for a moment. So, see how far ahead Gullickson could get. Here is Castro and Williams again towards the final chicane, and nothing doing again. So, it really might come down to lap 11 here. We'll keep a closer eye on them as this race gets older, but it looks like it's going to be the very end of the race. And James Barry is again, this time being overtaken, and this time being hit by Matthias Schuh. James Barry goes for a spin. He's one of our most successful drivers in recent seasons in the Radical Esports Cup. He's not finished lower than 4th in a race we've done, and this time he drops to 12th place, and that surely is the end of a good result for James Barry in this race.
Yeah, I was liking Barry to work his way up to that final podium position, actually, and we'll go back, take a look, see what happened there. I think he had a little help getting turned there in the final bus stop, but up until that point, we had P3 through P11, all covered by intervals of 0.4 or less. Wild, wild stuff out here at Spa, and here comes your replay.
So, yeah, Barry's trying to make a move on Braun. Caruso correctly seizes the opportunity. I'm afraid Matthias Schuh just runs him over there, really. A little bit careless, and Barry, I think, will be and has a right to be a little bit miffed about that.
Yeah, and looked like Schuh was taking the normal line there that you would take if there was not a car there. Unfortunately, Barry was there, entitled to space. You saw him getting turned there, and yeah, he's going to be salty about that. He didn't have a chance at the win here, Ewan, but I definitely think he had a chance at making some moves up through that group down the stretch here with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Well, that's going to be that, unfortunately, for him. It's still going to be a big battle for 3rd place for us to watch, though, in the final 2 laps. This group now only going down to 8th. Even away from Barry, there's been a bit of a split there. It's only a minor one back to Gonzaga, but even so, it has developed there, and it has split 3 off the back as well. Cabrera and Blanco. Then Barry's found Marinini, but outside of the top 10, that is not a place for James Barry to be. 2 laps to go though, and still Jake Williams holds on from Andre Castro. Now, if he's going to spring a surprise, Castro, then I guess it's going to be penultimate lap. We'll see on the top of the screen whether he does, as Cabrera dives boldly down the inside for 9th, but he gets it into the final chicane.
And still no change up front. You're seeing it unfold as we are. These cars have not changed positions since Castro pushed through to take that P2. And you've seen the draft go to work, and we'll take a ride with Castro right here, go up the hill. breathing the throttle a little bit here, carefully approaches the back of that SR10 and just starts tapping, tapping, tapping. There's no bumper back there. It's just body work and probably a little piece of frame protecting the engine and gearbox. But as I said, not risk-free, but Castro making it work.
This is the third group on the road. You can see up front there, it's 3 wide. It's 3 wide back here, 4 wide. No, not quite. And smartly so as well. George Gonzaga, look at the group up in front as well, by the way. Caruso is shot to the front of it all over again. Then Heinz Braun. Unfortunately, Gonzaga, and that's just a bit of connection again there. Gonzaga's blinking a little bit at the moment, which is making life a bit difficult. And James Barry is rocketed up to ninth place again, so he's back into the top 10 in this third group. Further up in front, there's a second group, which were 3 wide there as well, full of big names. They're not quite done yet either. These guys have been battling the whole race, and they're not going to stop now.
Caruso that time in the grass, getting the twofer going into Lukholm. That was absolutely nuts. One of the other drivers trying to squeeze him across off the boundary. Caruso said, that's fine, I can make it work in the grass, and gets back up into P3. Now 2 laps remaining. Pretty unlikely from what we've seen that he's going to be able to hang on to that, but certainly money time is right around the corner. We're going to see what these drivers' end games might be, especially up front. This is the one I'm dying to see, and Williams has stretched out just a little bit of a gap on the back portion of the course, but you see that slipstream going to work, and the gap drop all the way down to 0.1 when they arrive at the bus stop.
Here's 2 fascinating battles. Feels like they're happening in different races, to be honest, but it's a battle for the lead between Williams and Castro, where there's been no overtaking at all for the first 10 laps. There's about to be a few on this last lap, and the quite opposite happening in the battle for third place. A diminished group, in fairness, compared to what we had earlier, but even so, 6 of the best Radicals drivers fighting for a podium, and now the weaving begins. Williams doesn't go for the strategy of letting Castro through early here, or does he? I think he's slowing down into the Eau Rouge chicane here, and that might mean Castro slows down too. They're going to lose loads of time to that group behind him. What's the gap for? Below 6 seconds there, and unnaturally as well. But I'm not sure he's quite timed this right, Williams, because he's let the position go quite late here, and he's going to try and dive back down. Oh, there's contact. He's going to go straight on through Lacombe, and what's going to happen here? He's going to get a slowdown. How's he going to keep Andre Castro behind him as that second group also barrel through the Lacombe chicane? Gullikson goes over the road, and Heinz Braun gets his podium. Gullikson's off. Williams is trying to serve his slowdown without losing this position to Andre Castro. Oh, and he's slowing on the no-name corner, and they touch. They're both off. Castro manages to hold it despite going for a half spin, and Williams has lost his rear wing here. He's not only not going to win this race, he's not going to finish up towards the front. He might not even get a top 10 here.
Wow, unbelievable. And we're not at Suzuka, but those cars coming together, sliding into the kitty litter. Didn't that remind you of Senna and Prost? Holy cow, that was nuts. And I'll tell you, it is possible to get, that is one of the best places to get a slowdown. It is 100% possible to burn it and keep your competitor behind. And Williams almost did it there, but Castro getting racy elbows out and chucks Williams to the side of the road.
That was an extraordinary fight for the win between those two. In the end, Williams is the one who loses out dramatically, and as I say, I'm not sure he's going to get a top 10 here. What a remarkable finish. Gullikson is trying to still get Caruso, and don't forget that's for, oh no! Big crash on Blanchimont. Caruso goes for a spin. Goodness me, the drama at the end here, and he's only just avoided by those around him as well. Andre Castro takes the victory. It's his third victory on a Friday night this season, and the drama behind is led home by Heinz Braun. Gullikson gets his podium in the end. Sebastian Lips fourth. Matthias Schoos in the top 5. James Barry ends up gaining 5 places in a lap and a half. With all of that going on around him, Jake Williams does hang on for a top 10. Paki Caruso doesn't. What a wild finish at Spa tonight.
And Caruso, remember, was sitting in P3 more than once here and plummets at the end down to P14. And here's a replay of that action as Williams tries to burn that slowdown, covering off Speaker's corner, or does he?
Well, yes. Exactly, that's going to be the argument. That is going to be the argument. Rewind and try again. It's I mean, he's slowing down unnaturally. So, I mean, to my mind, Castro is not unreasonable to go down the inside there. Normally, I think that would be unreasonable if they were going at normal speed. But the fact is, Williams wasn't going at normal racing speed.
Yeah, I don't know. That is a little bit, and here's Caruso's little tap there. Oh my goodness, when his race goes from bad to worse with a couple 100 meters for the finish line, that is going to hurt. But yeah, I'll tell you that last move by Castro, barely any overlap right there after the turn-in point. I'm going to call that a dive, but thankfully that is above my pay grade, so we'll let it go.
Yeah, well, indeed, and mine. It is Andre Castro who takes the victory, though. 2.3 seconds, the gap at the line. Heinz Brunn next, then Harvey Gulliksen, this all in that second group, by the way, behind. Then Sebastian Lipp, Matthias Schuh rounding out the top 5, Kjell Larsen. James Barry got to 7th in the end, as I say, 5 or 6 places gained just in a lap and a half there. Pablo Cabrera behind him, Rafa Blanco, and Jake Williams does indeed hang on for a top 10. Did very well without a rear wing on that last lap. Maranini and George Gonzaga, teammates 11th and 12th in front of Felix Samoz. Paggy Caruso drops to 14th after that big crash through Blanchimont with a big spin. Romain Faux was 15th in front of Cyprian Drag and Chris Wetz. Then Juan Perez, Robert Woodward and Russell Barnes round out the top 20. And the only non-finisher, Ole Henrik Gulliksen, was 21st. Let's have a chat to tonight's winner, shall we? Andre Castro, who joins us now. Andre, welcome in. Good to have you with us. We've got to start with the final lap. Just talk us through that from your perspective there, ending, of course, with the contact through no-name corner.
Yeah, it was a good race. Just managed to push together till the end, and yeah, he went in for a dive at the end of the Kemmel Straight and cut the course. And then after that, he had a pretty big slowdown. He was just trying to park in front of me and turn in on me, so that he knew that if I passed him, that he would be screwed basically, because he had a slowdown. So his goal was just to jump on the brakes and block me as much as he could. So yeah, I wasn't going to stand for that. And I actually got my nose to the inside because he was slowing down so much, and then he turned in on me and wrecked himself. So just something you have to think about when you have new guys to the series. You don't know if they're going to pull some BS like that. So yeah, definitely not going to take it. And I think he should have just been happy with the second place, honestly.
I mean, that was well, part of that is the thing about this race. It was a 1v1 between the two of you. Just how much in the works was that move for yourself there at the end? Was there ever any thought that you might spring a surprise and lead earlier than the final lap there? Because you could see what was happening there from the moon. Really, you were going to stick behind until the last lap. Was there any thought that you were giving him 10 laps to actually think about his defence? You had 10 laps to think about how you were going to get past. Did you ever consider anything other than the strategy that eventually played out before the last lap?
No, that was always the plan, I think. I mean, obviously, I had it written a little bit cleaner than that, but he decided to play dirty. So, yeah, I mean, I think just the Kemmel Straight, unless you really are out of the draft range, maybe like 8-9 tenths ahead, you're going to get past there. So, I didn't feel like I could get that far ahead of him. So I just stuck behind him, and yeah, it was all working to plan. Just obviously, I left a lane open on the inside. He went forward and got the slowdown, and he just tried to kind of cover it up after that. But really happy to come away with that win. I think that's 4 in a row for me in the broadcasted races, and yeah, really happy. So hopefully try to go on to next week and do it again.
Absolutely. Thanks for chatting to us, Andre, tonight as always, and congratulations on the win tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks again for the broadcast as always, and see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. That is Andre Castro, the winner tonight from Spa, just in front in the end of Heinz Braun, who got himself up into second place. Heinz, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Second place, you could say best of the rest in that race, really, because the top two were so far in front for so long. Talk us through that group and how you managed to get yourself to the front of it, because at one stage there were 10 of you, and it was carnage at times on the Kemmel Straight. How did you get through it?
Yeah, I'd say, of course, we always tried to use the draft of the others and maybe get the first both guys like Andre and Jake. But at a certain point, I saw maybe they're also working together. So it must be fun also for us in the race. So we started battling a lot. But still, I think in the end, fair enough. And nobody was pushing somebody out. I think maybe I just two times got the corner not so right, and others maybe had to take an emergency line. But yeah, it's of course it's Spa, it's camel straight, and it makes a lot of fun to go 2 and 3 wide there into the corner.
Well, I'll pick you up on that, because I do speak to some drivers sometimes that find this kind of racing where you're all kept very close by the slipstream. But some drivers find it very frustrating. What's your view on it on circuits like this? I know they don't come around very often. We had Monza towards the end of last season, for example, Spa in this season. I'm sure there'll be maybe another circuit similar-ish to this, although maybe not for the rest of the season. How do you find this racing where it is really, really difficult to actually pull a gap normally without the slipstream?
Yeah, without the slipstream, of course, then it's maybe not so exciting and also more difficult. You have to really be on point in every corner. So these races are less exciting, but I really love these fights. Yeah, I hope that nobody else gets so much bored by it. But I can also agree on it's sometimes, to which you want to have a larger gap, or to whom you are totally fine with going, corner car by car, 2 wide, 3 wide. It's sometimes you are confident and sometimes you're not, and it's great when it's working out, so that nobody loses the car or gets completely thrown out of the race. No.
Well, congratulations on getting yourself to a second place finish tonight, Hans, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Yeah, thank you as well. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you very much. That's Hans Braun, second place here tonight at Spa. And Have Gullikson is third place, third podium of the season. Have a welcome in. Good to have you with us. In that same group, we were just talking to Heinz about how he finds the big groups like that on the big circuits entertaining to race in. How did you find it tonight?
Yeah, it's a bit stressful because on this track with a lot of fast drivers, it's a bit of a bingo race, actually. Unfortunately, on the first couple of laps, I didn't have the pace, or I don't know what happened, but Castro and the other guys got a bit too far ahead, and I tried to push to gain, but yeah. And after that, it was just trying to survive. And I touched Caruso on the last fast left-hand side corner. I sent him an excuse and sorry message. I haven't got any message back, but if he hears, I'm sorry we touched, but I don't know if it was a racing incident, but I always want to be fair and apologize if it's my fault.
No, that's absolutely fair enough. I mean, it was bound to happen, wasn't it? I felt in that race, because you were all so close for so long that eventually all that build-up of tension for everybody, it is going to result in something, surely. And so is there a fear? Well, you mentioned it's being stressful. Is it that fear, really, that you're effectively going to get caught up in a crash that either is or isn't your fault, but it doesn't matter? Is it that fear that's most in your mind when you're in one of these races like this?
Yes, actually it is. One lap at Les Combes after the straight, I just took a slowdown because I knew I was going to get hit if I made the corner. So yeah, a bit crazy, but it is what it is on this track. So you just have to deal with it as best we can.
Yep, it's Spa. That's all that can be said. Have a congratulations on a podium tonight, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Thanks you. That's Have Gullikson, third place tonight. JR, this is a race I think that's going to be talked about in the Radical community for a while. Incident on the last lap between Andre Castro and Jake Williams. In the end, Andre Castro runs out race winner. Still tensions running pretty high when we spoke to him there. Clearly believes he's in the right. I'd probably be willing to count it down to a last lap racing incident personally, but others may have different views. I mean, it's, as I say, going to be one that's talked about for a while, and be interesting to see when those two next meet each other on the racetrack.
Yeah, it absolutely will be, and you have to appreciate Castro back in his play and speaking his mind when he had the opportunity to. So cheers to him for a fantastic race and for making it come together at the end.
Yeah, it was a great battle between the two. Expect a different race at VIR next week. It will be live, same time, same place, April 17th. Don't expect it to be the same as tonight by any means, but it will still be an entertaining race from VIR as we enter a bit more of a twisty part of the season. After that, Brands Hatch, Hungaroring, Laguna Seca, very much a pattern, a theme for the next month or so. It will be live, of course, on the iRacing and Raceport TV YouTube channels throughout, so hope you'll join us for it. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside tonight JR Gregory in the Radical Esports Cup commentary box with Romeo Augustin Cisneros behind the cameras of this broadcast tonight. We'll be back in Virginia in 1 week's time. I hope you can join us then, but from all of us, for now, it's goodbye.